social media platforms ezenjawulo abali ku YouTube abali ku Facebook abatugobera buteteevu wano ku Sharp Talk n'omu Tamale Mirundi mbebaza bamusakola Tamale manga mutugoberera era nga Samungu aberenga basuramu abatukumire naye nga mukutamira tugera kugenda kukoza nedda leka muleka ndayagala amanyi ensonga zine kubanga polisi yavuddeyo naye bagaddewo okulabula kwonna era nga yeega nti waliwo abateekateeka okuba nti beerayiza era nga yogera ku mukulu Bobi Wine yateekateeka okuba nti yeeyaliza bafunye intelligence kagenda kuba kikolera mu hoteli emweyiganje nekinaku ekinewunyisa intelligence gyebogerako bogera ku social media bogera ku Facebook intelligence kati polisi akolera ku Facebook.
The moment I told Bobi Wine I talk to Bobi Wine when I want
ekyo nakiwakana nze
and Bobi Wine has done a lot
nakiwakana
to treat my son.
That one I know.
Amulabiridde nnyo
pozi nga mwogera ku ekyo awuzikiriza
Bobi Wine I'm telling you I told Bobi Wine avoid the three things. The moment you become you take up Besigye's strategy, you will fail. Besigye underestimated Museveni. Nalo was was striking, the public was ready for. First of all, a Westerner cannot succeed a Westerner. Two, Besigye obadde mu government, wali national political commission. Besigye bakwata bakiri muto, ba leaders ba DP, n'abagana okubawa diet, special diet. Is known. Ugandans are involved in the informal sector, which means work to work Uganda. How can you say there are no jobs, but people work to work? You would say work to nothing. Nechigwa. Besigye ne yeerayiza.
Yafuna mukaga yeerayiza.
Ekyo
National People's Government.
Besigye yali agezaako okukola mu politics mu ekiri. At one time they recognized the Somali government and the parliament was in Kenya, internationally recognized. At one time, Palestinian government recognized yali Tunisia.
Okay.
Yes, Baba J again, Jordan, bali bagala kuwamba government. So they recognized gundi and waliwo wange dalawo Sahara, Spain tekiriza nti gundi Spanish Sahara. African Union recognized it. Kakati who is recognizing a people's government? People's government go in each. I don't think that Bobi Wine with his handlers as well as degenerating into what Besigye
is planning to swear in himself. Police were gone.
The angel of lies is Enanga. Let me tell you. What is a ceremony? Katonda abayambe. If I was a minister of information and I had that stupidity, I would tell you, I would replay how a ceremony, a presidential swearing ceremony entails. Where would we basically, when a president is being sworn in, the Chief Justice
has to be there.
As if anybody is sworn in without a Chief Justice, what happens? Yes. The army pays royalty.
Yeah.
They give you their colors and what? What does this? Can you have a parallel one?
Which means we never walk on about a
Yes, it's like a widow retaining or a divorced wife retaining my name.
But what you know way be? Intention you never.
Banonya sente.
I'm
telling you about police banonya sente. Bombi
bayogedde ku twabira byeko emmotoka y'omukungu sakwa mmanyi bulungi ya famara disi wewe jinja
era gye bakuba
emmotoka yo bagikuba ate gena Georgian House bakuba emmotoka bbiri nawo
sakwa gwe bakuba ne bamushumiriyetinga lwaki yange tekubwa lwaki yange tebagikuba
ate gwe bakwagaza oli mu gavumenti
mbatta
gwe toli mu gavumenti yange
sakwa ne bamala okujogajoga ne bakunyala ku mutwe ne bakunyako ne bakuwa omulimu mu yiso ne mugenda those one ne bamukuba bamukube they are angered n'okubisa abantu tiyagase enkya nokwatenga labiyona akasajja kalinga skeleton n'ogenda mu yiso nze oyinza okumpa omulimu ne ŋŋendayo. I have been operating without a government job for 8 years. Tosobola kunya ku mutwe noddo muno nnyala kugwakubiri ate nze nagana okunya ku mutwe.
Bino poliisi ebipanga omukulu yavudde n'alaga
when why do they target Sakwa? What statement has Sakwa made? Inanga the angel of lies. Inanga. Me, I don't. Whenever I say Enanga, I just switch on.
Enanga said. For police yagambye. Ngende mbula police yagambye. Police yagambye. Opusha bagenda ku social media. Causing a mayhem.
How do you
babika abantu abakulu mu government?
You closed the social media, you lost 200 billion a day. Muchiddemu ogwokubiri. President yagamba, they have blocked our people. Full figure in abantu bemeka. How many? Why did YouTube insist that mine remains? Don't tell me you are rubbish. I came here for serious.
That is rubbish.
This is my best book.
Museveni the Revolutionary. It
catches all aspects of the history of this government. President Yangamba, you reprint our books. Buina Mululuo, Bandika Mulu, Mulungereza Mulunyankole Muchi. Severa Uganda. Nanyi ne buyinza mbumukolere oli kacheeka kano nje benye ndombatte mu bana nje bamutani kwa kajiji mwaso omutu temuli nkozesa akumu how benalaba wananga muli baavu muli bayitirivu
mzitamani sechuka
teri muntu yanda
omwavu agagga wala
teri muntu yanda bakonga ande mwavu
oli musajja muganda
iyo pesa ya damu
oli musajja muganda
mani
nikoza da kubire ngoma na uzina
namwe muli bantu mmwe timuli sobola kunjogamu nze nkugamba my main point for today. Why has Museveni clocked 30 years in power? Which means I wrote this book. Bagamba President
Monday 25th November 2013.
Nabaga musajja omumuwe ekyuma atukubira
okufira gift to myself to mark my birthday.
Nine nkufira emitwalo 2 nine kati mbyambala bwamba zinga babigabe.
Wazali 25 November.
Bananyine buyenza mbwajja toli nkozesa. Never in life. Every head has a price. Mine hakuna price. Mine hakuna price. Kichwa yangu hakuna price. Zeta sente mkubomu tayembwa. But even Uncle Sam failed. How can Uncle Sam fail? I talked to him. Yabakowa mwe. Bulenzi mwe. Get it from me.
But you named
Yabakowa.
Mzaitamani you named your
price. Joko lya hapo bwonna.
Wasaba 10 billion.
Nje njagala 10 billion.
Zandi zisize wabasaba.
Nobody twende kuchoka buli muntu ina. Bajja kubetera. Akasajja katufumye tuli kondom. Enkozeseeko
asajja kwa vex statement yeyo giveko
kajja kudduka wano kadduka ekigali naye wano kajja kuddukawo nkubuulira nkugamba why Museveni has clocked 30 years in power. Let me use two simpler examples to illustrate my point. One, look at a student. Any student follows a particular course. You start in the nursery school, enter primary school to secondary level, and then university. At all levels, the same student goes through a different stage in education, reflected in different subjects and examinations. At every level, you compete with others, and there are those who are dropped along the way. In 1986, Yoweri Museveni took power after a 5-year protracted war. He then had no mandate from Ugandans. This is why his government was a transitional government from 1986 to 95. Transitional. It was a transitional government. Abaddipi bakkiriza ne bajja gentleman's agreement. It was not a government of national unity, neither was it a coalition. It was a broad-based government. A broad-based government, you come as an individual.
Okay.
Nkugamba, the government had to put the necessary institutions in place and formulate a new constitution for Uganda. After this, like a student, I explained the student. The Museveni atandikidde mu nursery school. Ayingidde primary. Ayingidde secondary school. Ageze ku A-level. Emyaka 3 Yes. Tewali ejjajjifuna wano.
Ate gina 5. Ejja university.
Tewali ejjajjifuna. If you don't understand this situation, that by the time he came, he had organized a protracted war. 5 years in the bush. The higher the risk, the dividend. Nanyini buyinza yalowooza mbu wanzija wano antwala ngani agende mutano wa Mirundi n'omuzimu otutekunzita an arrogant man like me. After this assignment of making the new constitution, he competed with others in 1996 for the presidency. Olwo tuvudde mu buwambi mu transition. Tugambye kakati tuze mu movement system. Every person can come and compete. Ayineme kakati. Omwenda agufuze 0.
Twatuvudde mu buwambe mzee. Tuvanga mu buwambe.
Anti yajja muwambe. Yajja muwambe ni mumukkiriza.
Naye n'atuwamba.
Era abaddipi be baali basingamu obungi.
Okimanyi naye yatuwamba.
Ensi yonna nekkiriza nti twetaaga okugiga ebiwundu. Emyaka 9 0. emyaka 9 zero kakati emyaka 9 bwe gibala okugwako ne mukola constitution ne mulaga mu movement system.
Okay.
Katuli mu movement system. He won the mandate of the people and embarked on another stage. Thereafter, Uganda entered a new political dispensation. Tuvudde mu movement. Tuyingidde multi-party. Ani aliwo? Secondary school wagiyingidde with different subjects, different teachers.
Aja yeyubula.
Nino okuzane political scientist we makerere ekyo takimanyi balekangala bikuwekwala. How can a professor go on a strike? Can I go on a strike? Me? Can I go on a strike?
Overpayments.
Overpayment? Nze abantu nabeeranga mu state house nafunanga emitwalo 6. I can give Mirundi a job. Go to God and give it to your mother. Me, I'm not lacking a job. Yes,
disrespect mothers.
He won the mandate of the people and embarked on another stage. Thereafter, naye omusajja kyebunkoze gwokimanyi buli bizinesi zange nebigittanegamba nti gonde simanyi tutta pologulamu ene batutane batojjakasajja gwe kavudde entebe nga kayurinetize mu mpale. Thereafter, Uganda entered a new political dispensation, multi-partyism. Multi-partyism requires that each party sponsors its candidate, and this is what is happening in Uganda. Museveni is now a property of the party. It's the party that decides whether he should stand as their candidate. There is no game where a person chooses his or her opponent. Since all the political parties choose their candidates freely, Museveni remains a matter of NRM. Anybody who wants to stop Museveni should be a member of the decision-making board of NRM, or must sponsor a more popular and stronger presidential candidate. This is the bitter fact. I recently heard a comedian on one of our local FM stations shedding tears that I have seen one president ever since he was born. I answer him. He did not tell us how many schools and education institutions has gone through in the last 30 years. He did not tell the listeners how many cars he has changed under this same period. He did not tell us the number of businesses has set up under the same period. What this means is that since he does not have a veto on Uganda's politics, has to suffer from this frustration. If you are tired of the same supermarket in your area, you either go to another area or you start yours in the same area. Those who do not want President Museveni must mobilize other Ugandans, especially those who support him, to change their position and vote them. As long as his supporters form the largest percentage of voters, Museveni will still be around.
Ensonga ziri busy mukataba kenyini oyogedde ku nsonga okuba nti nno party zisalawo NRM ereta freely. Does it do it freely?
Namwe ne muleta.
No, NRM esalawo freely. Namukasira mubera ku soccer candidate.
Why do you pay for air tickets to get soccer stars abroad to play in the
national? Soko nziremu. Watch ogambe freely. Doesn't have do virtual
delegates conference to ne muleta.
Solo candidate? Is that being freely?
Yeah, you see.
Let
me tell you, every party organization has its structures. Look at the Catholic Church. The moment the Pope says full stop, Baba Gamba Simogere Yagendo Kumesaza, whatever come Catholic if solo candidature is a part of their constitution, why do you complain?
It's not part.
Why
it is not part.
Kakati neda omulungi gwe baganye okwesimba omwenale aveeye mu muwe.
Ayagala kuita mustructure. Bamemba zibaga.
Lwaki mumwagala muyisa mwenale. The point I wanted to develop. Tiyemba is on his way back. Naye Kazinda is a victim of infighting between Mbabazi nga era lwanyisa facility. Kazinda ne bamuteeka wa Bigirimana. Kazinda mama we yazibya amaaso agenda kufa. Kazinda is languishing in prison. My humble submission is this. As Mbabazi comes back, akolenga Kayihura. Kayihura yagamba saagala mulimu naye mutekitatta. Mbabazi bw'aba mulokole nga ne mukazi we taata we Canon ayambe Kazinda.
mzee Tamale mvuzeemu speed kati ensonga eyokubiri jenja twogereko ogambye ku nsonga nitulete baleeta ababulomale abatakiriza President Museveni baleete owaabwe bamuwagire amuggyeko Bobi Wine bamuleeta
n'agwa
nemulemesa
yagwa ate
bamulemesa okuba nti abantu bamuwagira mu butuufu okumuwagira
incumbency and rigging
mzee Tamale ovuga speed
kankusomere wano
neno ogana okunziramu kyenkugamba
nti
kyanukola kyenkubuuziza
bakuba abakazi bonna babareepinga
kyanukola kyenkubuuziza kyoma tuwulire
mwamuleeta n'agwa
teyagwa
ate teyali wammwe Bobi Wine has never been yours
yali
Bobi Wine did not emerge from one of the political parties yavaawa faaza waawa atava mu seminaariyo gwe mumbuulireko Bobi Wine yava mu seminaariyo ki
yatondawo
eriwa
yatandikawo
janaki bano be bamuleetera bamuleeta twakiyitanga edda tweronde omanye omupiira gwe twalonzanyanga kati tweronde tetulina Bobi Wine faza Bishop Bobi Wine yava mu seminaari ki yava mu DP yava mu FDC yava mu NRM Bobi Wine yava mu seminaari ki Bobi Wine
ng'amanyi g'abantu
Bobi Wine ng'awunya olumafia Bobi Wine ng'awunya olumafia
yava manyi g'abantu
tekiriyo. How many demonstrations did Bobi Wine lead? Zimbulire.
Wezi.
Yakwata kesa uyabesije. Yes. Nganda is a product of FTC. Bannakabirwa strategy bagamba mboba Museveni aganye okujja okadaka katuwe nganda mumuwe kasita mudire kanisa y'ekereziya nemugiwa omusamize mumuswala.
Mzee Tamale kana kugamba yourself ne Bobi Wine is self-made.
Kugamba the opposition also claims that an incumbent president masterminds rigging because all institutions are under his total control. This was partly answered by my submission that incumbents lose power to strong and well-organized opponents. In the countries I have enumerated above, where strong incumbents were trounced, the institutions were under their government. Ngokima Kawunda bamukuba bati. Kawunda ekibiina kya UNIP was entrenched senale. Gye balaba ssente ne bagoba Lumumba nannyini buyinza n'atwala Ddombo olwo ne bakuba gundi ne bakuba Ofono yayina okuteeka obubabe balya ssente endali mu zonta n'entreched party eriwo abagenda mu by-election ssente ne bazebbira. But UNEP, one country, one leader, that leader, Kenneth Kawunda, akasajja kakirwa kamukuba. KK boys. Kawunda, whenever Kawunda wanted to address a press conference, yatekanga abamawulire mu nnyonyi. Addressing a mid-air press conference this morning, Dr. Kawunda has said, kamukuba ekibu. N'omudaala gw'omuwino nemu abayina kisaka atawanya akatale k'owino n'ateekayo essajja ly'ettemu likubaaba omuwino emigo kayonga tebamwagala ye Museveni yafuna 90% gwe bakuwagala mukazi gwe. This is not an entrenched party.
95%
NRM is not an entrenched party. You are just disorganized.
It is a mass party.
Ndi musajja omu bya fellowship. Fellowship mu Uganda was who is who in Uganda except Museveni yatajirimu. Yo nanji kubye ne badduka. One man. Because I'm organized.
Okay.
Wali omusajja yavudde kamwenge. Nanga nti navuganya ne tumwebaza essomero lyange n'aliggala. Naye ngeze mu Ministry of Education ne mbasaba obuyambi. Bangambe mbulwale balo ne mugaga oli musiru. Essomero genda olitunde. Mwete muvumiriya. 8 years tebalinda bako. There are people I've never seen in my life. Ejogo nendi birotolo nendi bajamu mpale. But everybody has a price. Chicho yangu hakuna price.
Tugende mu maaso.
Chicho yangu hakuna price. I have enumerated above where strong incumbents were trounced. Kamuzibanda, Emwanzi, Emalawi, Kamuzibanda, Emwanzi, the Lion, Bamukuba, Ndanda ye, Yakuba Buyoya, Gabamuade Miezi Mukaga Joka, Burundi tewali muhutu yakulira yo asomerayo, Yavabuero, within it, Bamu Emiezi age, Yakuba Buyoya. You are not organized. You are not organized.
The opposition.
Yes, it's not the role of Museveni to put order in you. Nebulayo nze ayogera corruption nenjogera sente zebabbi at a high risk nenjogera Diana sente zabidde mu COVID ne mugulamu we nenjogera kino nyinza okuba Bobi Wine ekikono yeewuunya.
But it has been the work of Museveni.
Abantu balina okulabako twakalikodi.
It has been the work of Museveni.
Ababadde ne Museveni bambabazi kati be bamuvuganya. Ababadde ne Museveni babidande. Oyinake wekoledde ronda Museveni. Gwokyuka otya. Omuntu yakyuka mu ddiini bali babiri. Wumalu mu Busiraamu nabbi yasaba nti amaanyi Wumalu gakozesa okusanyawo Obusiraamu Allah gamuwe atonde Obusiraamu. Nekyapende
ekituukirira.
Sawulo Katonda n'amugamba Damascus nti Sawulo njegagizaaki. Sawulo n'afuuka Paul. A quote of the Bible was written by Paul, Saint Paul. Nemwe muyina abantu. How many times has Bobi Wine commented on the rampant corruption in this country? Anti akyukawa.
Abavude mu DP bagenda mu NDP
tebayina anti bantu bayise eri abadde Uganda yabadde ki Uganda
dala ko bali
revolution dala ko bali nyidde era bateesa ne government I want to tell you however much you hide it no leaders are negotiating with the government
if baba negotiating singa bana babatadde
nkugamba incumbency only helps those leaders who have performed. In fact, in politics, losing an election and to be defeated are interpreted differently. To lose an election means that the government made avoidable mistakes that led to the loss. Being defeated means that the government had no alternative. The voters were fed up with it. Therefore, rigging or no rigging, the most important fact is popularity and support. Do you believe Museveni has no support in Kampala? In 2011, all of the councillors in Kampala were NRM. Lukwago came to Kampala as an independent. Nibagalo mujja munte yasoma. Lukwago got $600 million shillings from an NRM man. Ngasubire ngudo mu Kampala. Lukwago did not have gone polling station to ina observers on 1,000 polling stations. It prompted the numbers of military volunteers. Ani yayogera ngasema timba akuba Lukwago bava mu NRM ne bakubira kujja Sseggone essimu ti obululu bwetu staff yenze buli ku Kampala High School was Sseggone ne fado nabaga musumululeka kyali kinali mu munda. People wouldn't want Sematimba. Why? Kampala bamubiramu nnyo kibola baleeta kesakana atigomye ensi itakana atigomye ensi nga bali bekwesi n'aleeta essajja ettemu n'aliteeka mu wino ne bakozesa omukazi ono akabokedde ne kakuba omukazi omunyankole. Why don't you say that a trader? Oyo omukazi okimanyi nti bamukwatako oyo omukazi pulezidenti yabawa miliyoni 10,000 byewino ne babiteeka gundi nakyobe n'abiteeka ku account mu Centenary Bank. Omukazi oyo yagamba mbu abasajja bavudde mu State House ne banteeka ku gun point ne batwalako 2. That woman you see there making noise ayawulira mu bantu n'abawuliramu. Andi kugamba has Bobi Wine commented on the Wino people?
No. Bobi Wine
you cannot grab power. Museveni is not defeated in Kampala. Museveni loses.
It is defeated.
Uyo mwana tumwebaze yaleka yononye Kampala yenna.
Museveni is defeated in Kampala.
Tumwebaze yagula akatale kana akebiti milioni 10 bilioni
akebiti akaliwo.
Akausafi. Bali mukuba mwebali muziika. Nenkugamba. Does the NRM rig elections?
Yes.
I tell you. To understand the difference between rigging, political maneuvering, and tricks, we have to examine the two. Rigging can only be done in an election process. For instance, in the case of parliamentary elections, the constituencies can be gerrymandered. Ngani nankabirwa kyeyakola. Nti yakola ekintu ekimu oba tekyakola mu 8. Gerrymandering, you call it gerrymandering.
But that is also rigging. That is also rigging. That is also rigging. That is also rigging.
Parliamentary election bakuba. One babasinza amagezi nagote bansobolanze. Who creates constituencies?
It is them.
Constituencies are created after the census. Every 50,000 people must have a constituency. Kati bo basala amagezi. elections population census ebera ya myaka 10 bagikola in such a way ne bagikola in such a way nti bafune time nga parliament oba cabinet. Where do you find the cabinet but ministers to create constituency for themselves? If I'm a real opposition leader here, compare the Raila Odinga bwatambuziza government ya Kenya. Do we have a person like Raila Odinga?
But who does that much?
It is the reserve. I think kuburi temuyina ba leaders. Let me join the opposition. This is the process where constituencies are made in favor of government supporters. In 1980, Apache, for example, had the same constituencies like Mpigi, which at that time included Wakiso, Butambala, and Mpigi Serem. Today, the area is represented by 10 MPs. Omanyinti Muchinana, Gundi, second year no Java. Senda ulawo na yali achikirirawo kati waliwo bemo pikumi ninkugamba in Masaka Bukoto that was represented by no MP in the 1980 parliament. Senda ula the area is now represented by 5 MPs. The difference is that either for creating constituencies are clearly unknown. Every 50,000 people must have a constituency. This omanyinti abenali mbaina constituencies zirimu abantu omutwalo gumu. Where is the MP? Where is the politician here?
Who's doing that?
Where is an opposition leader here? Baba kwatire mumulabe bebavulula bebakende n'endusu. If I go to the opposition, these people will tremble. I will change the political landscape.
Why don't you go?
A politician is somebody who deals politics. It comes from a Greek word, a politician. Who depends on politics. Why haven't I been bought for the last 8 years? Their government applies the same criteria in creating districts, municipalities, and the lower councils. Katibuli city yonajo ulira, no oriented yawaji for the city. Mafia yinayebizimbe byayo. Chovola bamwene bamutwa bajja kumole bamwene bajja kumujje Masaka nga tayina mpale. Mutwaliyo n'abakoba bamulete nga tayi mane kitete bakifungudde. Abantu bawekeniza apo. Nkugamba nti Electoral Commission mumujerondera mu parliament. Approved. Mumujerondera. Kakati Museveni yababira nembaga ndi Museveni wabakwatira. Nebe ganti yava ku mulamwa mbagamba. Te Museveni yabakwatira ku kintu kimu. You have failed to understand Museveni. We have 3 words that appear to be the same. A revolutionary, a politician, and a statesman. They are 2 different things.
Okay.
A politician is opportunistic. Yanonya winning a next election. A revolutionary changes society, like Museveni. Okay. A statesman prays for harmony. Bwekibanga Abaganda bwebateekawo ebintu byabwe ne baleeta Katikkiro omufere n'abazanyira ku mutwe n'abazanyirako kati boogera b'amakubu yabanira bwe bunnaabwe kyekikampuni ekibadde kibba amabanka. Have they talked about
nga tumaliriza waneeno okwakadde katuweddeko era nga njatusibule ne kino
nkugamba restoration of democratic governance. A revolutionary invests in infrastructure. Kyobulaba Kagina yakyawa Abaganda n'abagenzi abavudde mu yinula nabo n'owandikayo amabaluwa babagobe nkyanoonyereza Kagina oba kitaawe yali makuwano oba yakwanako omuvubuka omuganda namu Kagina yakyawa Abaganda. Kagina yakyawa Abaganda n'abasajja abadduse mu yinula n'owandika amabaluwa gye balaze babagobe mbu balokole. I went to State House. I didn't single mulokole in State House. Nalabayo omwala omu mulokole. Mulokole nalabayo. A revolutionary invests in the infrastructure and human resource. Many roads have been constructed in spite of government limited resources. The government put up 20 investment parks. Nebazibba. Nebaga nti wenamma waina n'okubeera oluguudo oluyita waggulu nga wadde banka bawadde sente nasasira yamengi zaala. Bali baleeta n'amaduuka olinga bamuleeta mu kkooti. Lukikayire yaleeta baasi ezatabula ne Kuteesa. Lukikayire. Kuteesa ekyamukulu bikumpita weekuŋŋamba. Basi zange nali kubira Lukikayire empale n'egiwanika waggulu. Nina kamunye 10 n'akange mukappe akomunako ke kazikiza omulimu nakati ninamu naleese ezo empya 10 njagala babekeji muziyitani drone njagala babekeji. I'm itching to see a thief mukube bikomwendo mukube mbatte mukwatekemu oba najja kugamba nti land has been given to investors. Naye baleese omufere kati waliko omufere ali mugundi. People are celebrating. Kati baleese omufere mu investment gundi. Land has been given to investors to bring their money to Uganda. Government has stressed the importance of value addition. Also, government has invested heavily in the generation of cheap and reliable energy. Kitutu yadidde be bagenda okugoba. Kitutu n'atwala instrument. Bodi ya leyeveewo emisango gife. Kitutu naye ali awo ayichinga mbu simanya abagisu bali bubi mu 7. Bahati mbw abakiga. No. Anti government eri wano mpozi gamuna akijjawo. Buli mubbi no Museveni wanaleeta mu government tugenda ku inciting abantu aduke. Kasa yijja okufuluma Kampala alidukira mu kofini. Kitutu okuddamu kitutu ademu energy. Kitutu gwe ademu energy. Etia. Tu inciting abantu n'okuka. Mutabani wa Kajiji yakomawo mu government. No. Mujja jijjawo. Tu inciting abantu misinde. Teri awunya ajja kudda mu government. Teri muntu awunya agenda kubeera mu government. Teri anuka agenda kubeera mu government.
Tugenda omukwano Katikkiro Mayiga yatugatte tugate eddoboozi tubenga tumwegattako okuba nti nno Buganda ebanja obukadde bilioni ziringa mu 2
bakamuwa mmeka. Let Mayiga tell us the balance sheet. Museveni okumanya Mayiga lwaki tomumulako kubanga akati how much money, how did these buildings get into the hands of the central government? By the time Mutesa made an whole alliance with Obote, Museveni was a student. Tatujejembera omwana Obote yabawa meka ezokukola Obote yabeera n'obiri okuva mu 6 n'aba